Welcome, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Great. I want to start with a story. Many years ago, when I was in graduate school, I was in the Ivy League and, beautiful grounds at Princeton. And I went off to a summer to the Middle East. And when I was there, I was in Egypt, and I spent, quite a bit of time traveling around. And one time when we were there, I visited what's the lowest class of Egypt. They were the garbage collectors. They went around Egypt and collected the garbage and brought it back to their homes, and then they would, destroy it and get rid of it. And they had us there. They had us to their homes, and their homes was a vast compound. It was huge. I mean, it was almost endless. And they made their homes out of garbage, and so you can imagine what their homes looked like. Literally, it was just. And the family that I visited and spent quite a bit of time with, they had about 10 children, and they lived in it was a 2-bedroom home, the best way to describe it, but it was made out of the garbage, and it was about the size of our typical studio apartment, so very, very small for 10 people. And so I watched them, and I asked them, I said, how is life for you? And to my surprise, they actually really loved life. They worked on improving their life. But they weren't suffering, they weren't struggling, they were very gracious, loving people. And what that did is that really disabused me of a lot of my beliefs about what happiness and success are. Because, I'd been to kind of the ivory tower, was attending there, and I saw people that had, were Nobel laureates, and they weren't happy. I saw people that, in the course of my life, I saw people that had lots of money, and they weren't happy. So I kept on seeing, these people were happy and doing well in life, had nothing. But none of us in this room have probably ever experienced or rarely experienced. And so I kind of went on this quest, this many, many year quest of, well, what is happiness? What causes people to be happy, to be peaceful? And it means a lot of things to different people. And usually what it means is if I get this thing or if I get that thing, I'm going to be happy. If I arrive, let's say, for example, if I get enough money, then I'll be happy. And that doesn't seem to work. If I get in the right relationship, if I find the right perfect person, then I'll be happy. Then everything will be fine. And then I saw that doesn't work. And then there was like, if I get the right home, if I just have that beautiful home overlooking the ocean, everything will be fine. And that doesn't work. So, or if I get the right title, if I become a doctor, if I become an author, if I become, a lawyer, if I get those type of things, everything will work out well. My life will be great. And I don't actually need to spend much time to have each of you in this room know someone who fits that title, has one of those things, and realizes that they aren't necessarily happy. That doesn't in and of itself cause happiness or peace of mind or peacefulness. So then I started to say, well, what does? What keeps us? Actually, I started first with what's keeping us from finding peace of mind and happiness. And it really boils down to what I call the cycle of desire. And what I mean by that is when we're about 2.5 years old, as children, we start doing 2 things. We like things a lot, so we go after them. That's called I want, desires. And we don't like things, and we don't want them, so we run away from them. That's called fear. I don't want that. Please go away, go away. And that happens about 2.5, and then that gets stronger and gets stronger and gets stronger. It's reinforced. And so you're constantly looking for things outside of you, these impermanent things to be permanent. I want this toy. When Christmas comes, like I have 2 young children, when they get their toy for Christmas, they're hoping it'll make them happy and they'll be happy forever. How long do toys make children happy? Not very long. Yeah. And so looking externally for peace of mind, looking externally for happiness, ultimately leads to one thing. It doesn't work because it leads to discontent because these things are impermanent. No matter any example I give, let's go back to the degree again. A person gets a degree and then they get a higher degree and they keep going up and up and up. But they're changing. Someday they have to retire. Someday they're at the top of their peak. Maybe they're at Harvard. In this case, and they got their PhD and their tenure. Well, guess what? There are other people that have Nobel laureates out there. They haven't reached that. And then they finally reach that goal. And guess what happens? There are people out there that have 2 Nobel laureates. And even when you're at the top, like Bill Gates, is he at the top anymore? He actually isn't. He's not the wealthiest human being in the world anymore. So because things aren't permanent, they can be lost. And what we also do is, even when we arrive at something, and this I see over and over again, we are always comparing ourselves to someone above us. Whatever station we're at, and home is a good example of this. If you live, in a trailer park, you think about the people that have a condo. Or if you're renting, you think about the people that are owning. And then when you get your home, you think about people that have homes in a nicer area. You don't compare yourself to the apartments anymore. And then when you live in a certain neighborhood, well, you start looking at people that have nicer homes in your neighborhood. And it can go on and on and on. And this is a true story. I'm going to share with someone that told me this. They had a home, a $7 million home on the beach in Laguna Beach. Like, wow, how can you go higher than that? Well, the home beside them was $14 million, and that person had 2 homes. And that is an exaggeration. And they literally sat across from me and told me that. So when you think you can get up there and everything will be fine, that isn't true. So, and besides, even once you obtain something, I think this is something that catches people. Once you obtain something, what happens is there's called fear. There's a fear of losing it. I have it. Okay, I have. This is one that will probably touch a lot of your hearts. I have my child. I finally got the child that I really want. But what can happen? Your child can die. This week, the train wreck that happened in Los Angeles? Well, one of my clients, his best friend was on that train and died. So that's the impermanence. So none of these things can work if they're impermanent. That's just kind of a law. If something is impermanent, it cannot cause happiness. So what does? And I'm going to let Elizabeth speak now.